Okay, good morning, all of you. Okay, now, is it a first we'll start with, still many are joining. No, first, already we have discussed the spring, no? So if you can recollect the basic idea of springs, you have some idea of the springs, you know. So what is the basically spring? Spring is nothing but an elastic body only. A wire only, it will have elasticity. So the spring will have natural length L. This particular material, it will be made up of area of cross section. Okay, I'll do one thing. What is that area of cross section? So here that A will come. This will be length. This is spring constant. Fine. So this spring constant of a spring, it depends upon the Young's modulus. What is why Young's modulus of material, and what is length? Length is not the length of the wire, physical length of the spring. I think already we have discussed some many problems. This one, and what is why? Why is Young's modulus of material of wire? Okay, this is a basic idea of spring. So if you cut this into two parts, let's take this one. So this is spring length L and spring constant K. I'm going to cut this into two parts, L by 4, 3L by 4. Spring constant K1, K2. So what is K here? YA by L. What is K1? YA L by 4 or 4YA by L, or this will become 4K. What about K2? Spring constant YA 3L by 4 or 4YA by 3L 4K by 3. This will be the spring constant. Now I'll connect them in series, parallel. Already we have discussed this in work point G, springs in series, parallel. Can you recollect all those ideas? So this will be much, okay, now if the two springs are K1 and K2. So what is the, I want to replace this effective spring constant. So then what should be the K? K should be equal to K1 by K equal to 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2. They are parallel, that one. So they are series, the formula will be like this, and the K will be K1, K2 by K1 plus K2. If they're connected parallel, parallel means it is like this. And if you want to replace with an effective spring, so K equal to K1 plus K2. So there's a parallel. This is the series. Already we discussed in work point G, so I don't think so. Again, we have to work out any numericals. So the same idea of that one. So the spring is a good example of elastic body is a spring. Fine. A good example of elastic body is a spring, that one. restoring forces, deforming forces, the same way that one. So you go back this one. If you elongate or pen, the elastic forces will bring body back to equilibrium. If you compress it again, the elastic forces will be set up in such a way that they'll oppose the deformation. Okay, no. So this is the what we discussed about the springs here. So just recollect some spring problems. Now instead of spring, what did they say? Like they say cord of length L. Spring can undergo compression. Cord cannot undergo compression. Will I agree? Spring elastic cord cannot undergo compression. I think rubber band, can you compress rubber band? Only you can stretch it, no, but you cannot compress. So this is about the spring. Now elastic cord. Elastic cord. Elastic cord means, okay, this is like a similar to elastic string only, that one. So here one end, let me fix it. I can stretch it. I can stretch it. So this will be, what is the Young's modulus will be there. What is the spring constant? K equal to YA by L. What is the area of cross section? So this is the thing. You cannot compress. If you compress it, it will become like this. Able to understand? No compression, only elongation is there. This is the elongated. No compression occurs. I think we have to be very careful. No, elastic cord cannot be compressed. Only it can be elongated. So what about the spring constant YA by L? Again, the same method. What is the energy stored in it? U is equal to K delta L whole square by 2, or K, what you can write, YA this much is energy stored in the cord. What about any elastic forces will act? As the elastic forces, how it will act? It will be in this direction. And what is the elastic forces? K into delta L. It's like a spring only, no? Similar to, what is the elongation? Delta L. Now, elastic rod you will come across. Elastic rod is similar to the spring. Elastic rod, it is similar to the spring only. Now there's a natural length, area of cross section, a Young's modulus. You can elongate it. You can even make it to undergo compression. So I think future chapters, we do come across situations of all like this. So you should be aware of these things. Okay, here the force will be acting in this way. Here the force will be acting in this direction. Look at the nature of force, similar to spring. So what is F1? F1 will be equal to YA by L into X1. What is the F2? YA X2 by L. So this is elongation. This is a compression. This is a rod. Huh? So cord, elastic rod, spring, elastic cord or string. A good example, you take rubber band, all of you. You can't compress, no, but you can elongate it. That's the thing. Or you take eraser, it is almost like elastic rod. You can stretch it and you can compress it. You can deform it. You can stretch it or you can compress it. That one. Okay, idea this one. So these are the types of elastic bodies. What happen will be very much exclusively we're using. I'm telling this is very important. We need these ideas must be there in numericals rather than struggling. No, better to have idea once this one. Huh? Remember. Okay, after this, okay, we'll Elastic cord, that one means now uh, same thing. If I connect two cords parallel, if I connect two cords parallel, the same method, the same formulas you're going to use. Elastic rod, elastic cord. If two elastic strings connected parallel, connected in series, the same formulas of series parallel you should apply here. Let me write. What is the area of cross section? It can be cross section, can be anything cylindrical, it can be circular, it can be square, rectangular. It need not be always circular. That's one more condition we are putting it. Here also maximum breaking stress will come. If the stress becomes, if the stress in the cord becomes more than that, it's going to get damaged here. Okay, now there is regarding breaking stress, we'll just have some small idea. There's a rod both are of same length, but look at the area. What is the breaking stress? Both are made up of iron. Breaking stress will depends on the radius. No, the breaking stress is independent of the radius of the material. Fine. Breaking stress is some parameter of a substance. Breaking stress is independent of area of, or better say radius is independent of radius of the body. Breaking stress depends on material, no? Iron, it's having one breaking stress. Copper, it's having one breaking stress value. It's independent of the radius. But breaking stress, how you measure? Force by area. Sigma m is a constant. So actually, I think I should make things clear here now. So further this, what you can write it. Sigma m, this is a constant. As you increase R, the force required to rupture the body, what happened, that will be different. So now there are two objects are there here. Tell me, like, this is R2. Tell me, like, in which case you should apply more force to rupture the body? R2 greater than R1. Sigma m is same for both. Then the force what you apply here on the first rod and you are going to apply it on the second rod to rupture it. So in which case it will be more in the second case. The reason for that, this one. So F2 equal to sigma m pi R2 square. Fm equal to sigma m pi R1 square. As R2 greater than R1. The force needed to rupture F2 will be greater than F1. What are F2, F1? The magnitude of force that is needed. Able to understand. So these are some, we think that something depends on, say, like there's no problem. The moment you see R, okay, you think that it dependent. No, this is a constant for a given material. Constant. For a given material. All this is data. Just you have to remember that one, nothing big. Okay, no, some problems on such things we will do. Okay, we'll take some numerical. So physics always some, if you do numericals, no, clarity of ideas will come. Read the question. He's asking you to calculate the force constant. I'll give the diagram. Same diagram, let me take. Read the question. At least first you read the question so that it will be easy for you to. Steel plate and aluminum plate, each of length L, width are welded each other to make a composite slab. Thickness of steel plate is TS. Okay, that one. There are two plates are there, no? So let me shade it. Are you seeing this? I think, okay. Just I'll color it so that at least you'll understand the diagram. This is one plate. This is the top surface of both. Okay, now at least some diagram clarity I give. Okay, try to work out. Spring constant along x-axis. Thickness of them. So the yellow color one, we'll call it as a steel. Next, the red color one is an aluminum, TA and TS. No, these are the thicknesses are there. Okay, now Young's modulus of steel, you write it. Very easy, you can see. First, we'll calculate the spring constant along x-axis. So Kx is equal to, what is the definition and how these two are? They'll be parallel, no? If you see along x-axis. This is a steel, this is aluminum. Will I agree? So you are going to apply force like this along x-axis. Then both will have same elongation because they are now parallel. So effective spring constant. What is K? This will be Young's modulus. Young's modulus of steel. Area of cross section. Tell me what shall I do? Area of cross section. BS into thickness of steel. What should be the length? Length should be L. YA, BA, TA by L. Width B, okay, width is same. So you're going to take BL as outside. So YS, TS, YA, TA. Okay, option A, okay, fine. Okay, now along y-axis. Along y-axis, how they will be? Along y-axis, how the whatever. Oh, diagram. Just wait, I'll get the diagram. Oh. I'll make the diagram. Once again, I have to do. These are local. Meanwhile, if you have idea, you carry on. I'll finish off this shading. So this will be the okay. Come for this one. Okay, along y-axis. Along y-axis. There'll be in series, no? Sorry, Ks by K. Then what is the effective spring constant? 1 by Ky equal to 1 by Ks, 1 by K. So 1 by Ks should be again the same formulas. L by Ys B Ts, L by Ya B Ta, and this is Y Ky. If you want, you can solve it or live in this way. L by B, you can take outside. So Ky is equal to no along z-axis area once I think I'm area will be BL, no? Area will be BL, Ya by L. L will be Ts. Now some corrections are there. It should be like this. So this should be Ys, Ya, BL will be outside. So Ya Ts, Ys Ta. Check. I made correction because area for y-axis, this will be blue color will be the shaded area. Along z-axis, again along z-axis they'll be in parallel. Area of cross section Ys should be equal to Ts into L, no? It should be. Now this will be B. Ya Ta L B. Different types of questions like this you can expect in exam. I took here some shapes like this, rectangular strips. It can be of any other shape. So what is that area of cross section? How to define? So strictly what in the formula y equal to k equal to Ya by L, what is that area? The area of the material which is directed perpendicular to the axis along which I'm going to apply force. So means now on this structure, if I apply force along z axis, you should use this formula. If I apply force along x-axis like this, if I try to pull or compress along x-axis, you should use this formula. If you apply force along y-axis, you should use this formula. Where do we see such things? Anybody? sofa set, bed. So it's a very complicated spring. Okay, fine. But if you come to the 3D object of elastic body, and sometimes what will happen? Sofa set, what can happen? The body will undergo deformation from all three sides. Then kx, ky, kz, keeping all for deformation in 3 dimensions, we have to work out. This is what practically it happens. We have confined ourselves to only 1 dimensional elasticity, but basically 3 dimensional elasticity with what practically it will come. Okay, read next question. I'll give 3 minutes timer just because you have to understand. Some friction is what I introduced here. As a teacher, I should allow you to think on this one. A diagram appears. It's a cylindrical one. It's a cylindrical container. Okay, get in this one. Now we have a cork. There's a cork. How the shape will be. This I'm going to fit into this one. Look at I'll bring near to it. It cannot go inside, no? Getting the idea? It cannot go inside this cylinder. There's a cork. Yeah. So what is the radius? This will be 2 R plus delta R. So length of this is L. What shall I do to this cork? To get into, and what is the diameter of cylinder? It is 2R. It should get into the cylinder. I think cork little bit. I think it has become very thick, no? Okay, no problem. Somebody asked like why two cylinder? It's not a two cylinder, it's a cork. It's a lid. Just I wanted to close it. Yeah, fine. So what shall I do now? I should decrease radius, no? So to decrease radius, I'll apply force. I think it's again wrong. Length will be same. Better to draw diagram. Now, who will do this? By applying force, no? So how I should apply force? I should apply force in this direction. On applying force, on application of force, or nothing but you have to press everywhere, no? So that the force will be like this. I think I can't show 3D diagram. Everywhere it will be in this direction, it should come. Or say lid what happened, its diameter has to be decreased. So where you are going to apply force everywhere normally on this one. And that is what the delta P is telling. So then the radius, how much it has become? 2R. Now this cork, it is, shall I say, deformed cork. The cork is deformed, no? It is being applied the force. So now this particular thing, can I shift into the cylinder? Yes, I can shift into the cylinder. Fine, I think if you can understand diagram, no, it's a bit easier. Huh? Okay, now, okay, let's get into the problem. This I will push into the cylinder. I closed it now. This was open. Now we have closed it using a cork here. Tell me what is the state of cork? It is deformed, no? Continuously there'll be force acting. This is the external force, delta P, this is the external force. External deforming force. Tell me how the elastic forces will be acting inside it. Elastic forces will be acting in this direction. This will be the direction of elastic forces. How it will act? Everywhere radially outward. So these are deforming forces, and these are deforming forces. How the elastic forces? Everywhere radially outward. So if I show the cork, one more diagram. If you look at the cork, what is the state of the? These problems students find very difficult because some 3D dimensions will be involved here. What is this? Shall we put like this here? Now, what are these arrows? elastic forces set up inside the cork, deformed cork. So what cork wants to expand, the cylinder will not permit. What was the original length of the cork? What is original diameter of the cork? 2r plus delta r. But no, how much it is? It is r, 2r. So shall I say cork deform? So elastic forces should act here. Now I want to remove it. So let's calculate delta P is asking. So tell me how to calculate delta P. So let's get into the volume. So what is the new volume? Change in volume. Anybody? How to calculate change in volume of the cork? Initial volume was how much? Pi r plus delta r whole square. Final volume is how much? Okay, I need this diagram. Yeah. Final volume is how much? V2. What is V2? Pi r square into L. What is the change in volume? Delta V. Delta V should be equal to V1 minus V2. V1 is pi r plus delta r whole square L minus pi r square L. Okay, let's go for calculation. Delta r square, this will be negligible. Delta r is very small, so delta r square will be still more smaller. So what is the change in volume will become? Pi 2 pi RL Okay, this will be the change in volume. Now, fractional change in volume will bring it. Delta V by V. So this should be equal to how much? 2 delta R by R. Bulk modulus, how you define? Delta P by delta V by V. So delta V by V is how much? 2 delta R by R. So therefore, what is delta P? Is equal to B into 2B delta R by R. Okay, this much of what you should call, anybody, can you give name? Calculate delta P. So what is that delta P? Volume stress. Delta P is what called as volume stress. No, how you should apply? You should apply everywhere that one on this particular surface. So nothing but pressure. No force per unit area. You have to take this one. Okay, after this, after the cork is fitted, how much of force will be needed to pull it out of the container? I'll apply external force. So then, a friction, this surface will be rough. There'll be friction. So what is that pulling force? The pulling force must be equal to so that pulling force is what? F frictional. Tell me what is the frictional force? How to calculate? Where do that frictional force will come? Everywhere along the circumference. Everywhere along the circumference. I'm just showing at one point, and this will be the external force. If you want to pull out, let's get into this one. So how to calculate frictional force? So I'll directly write mu into that normal contact, no? Mu into N. So what is that N? N will be, what is this delta P? Stress, no? stress into area. What is the area? 2 pi r into L. Delta P we know 2B delta R by R 2 pi RL. So what is the external force? How much I should apply? Should be equal to 4 pi mu B L delta R. If you pull the cork with this much of external force, it will come out. These are the answers. Take the next question. Is a solid body, not a lamina, solid 3D object where the is asking that expression for radius as a function of y. First, understand the question. It is kept on a ground. Then a load means it supports a load P. So some sort of force we have applied it. Then what is the condition is asking? If the compressive stress at all cross sections should be same. How it is possible? Because how you define stress? Force by area. Area of cross section is varying, no? So he's telling like what should be the how the R should vary with Y so that everywhere stress should be same. But we know stress cannot be like that. Please try to understand. It'll be easy for you to get into problem. So in general, if you take the okay, let's do one thing. Let's take first. Let's try to understand what is the question here now. Now here, if whether I apply force or not, tell me what's happened to stress at several points. There's a rod having a mass m, so the weight will act. No, so you take the small element here. The weight of this element will act. Tell me like a where stress will be maximum at 0.1 or 0.2. You must answer because I think as a teacher I should not because already we are at the end of the chapter. This is some rod. You kept it vertical. Tell me where stress will be maximum at 1, no? Because at 1 we can see the total weight of an object. At 1 we see total weight of the, at 3 what will happen? Only the weight belonging to upper part. At 2 happen, nobody is there to press it. So what is the stress? Stress at 2, 0. Stress at 1 equal to weight by area. I'll give all the details in pi r square. Stress at 3 should be equal to lambda yg by pi r square. What is lambda? Lambda will be m by L. Length of the rod be L. So lambda equal to m by L. Comparing this to where stress will be maximum, definitely at 1, no? Sigma 1 greater than sigma 3 greater than sigma 2. And stress at 2 will be 0. We agree this? Simple idea. The weight. If you suspend at point of suspension maximum, if you place a rod on a ground, at the bottom it will be maximum. Okay, now, so what he's telling is asking now, so what happened? This is structure. Everywhere stress should be same. For that, how that radius should vary with y. Getting idea? See, question given directly, I'll write some equation, I'll get answer, but you should analyze what actually it is. So we are going to design a now a rod where stress should not vary with the distance, as it's very much needed in applications. Hope everyone got the idea which I wanted to discuss. Huh? Let's get into the, there's a ground, I kept on a ground. So I'll take a structure. Not coming, unable to draw it. Let me try. Yeah, not straight. Okay, it should be curved. Okay, fine. Huh? So some rough diagram. Okay, let's get into the method like and all. So what I do, I already applied a force. A load is being applied here. This what is telling. That load is telling P. Suppose say load P. Load or nothing, but if you want to write F naught, some force, anything up P, if you're getting confusion, you can go for F naught. Let me assume a strip. It's very good problem. Huh? Let's a bit of mass help is what you have to take it here. This is a dy. So what is the assumption we can make it now here? So here W be the weight above the this one. Before that, let me go for radius. So this is R. Radius will be R plus dr. Will I agree? The radius S should keep on increase, and here how much radius? It is R naught. Now it will keep on increase. I think the diagram. Yeah, fine. So let W be the weight of the body. So let's assume few things I'm assuming. W the weight of the body above the elemental disk. Where is elemental disk? This elemental disk. So there's no way we have to get into mathematics. There's no other way. We have to think mathematically here. Concept already what we know it. And let dW be the weight of elemental disk. dW be the weight of the elemental disk. Now, so what is telling the stress? So if I say that stress above the elemental disk and below the elemental disk, if it is same, I think that's what the condition. No? Stress everywhere should be same. Then how that radius should vary as a function of y? This is a question. So therefore, the stress above at 1 and 2 it should be same. So let me get into the concept here. This is a point 1. This is a 2. So strictly condition given, sigma 1 should be equal to sigma 2. Instead of writing sentence, I'm taking symbols here. What is the stress at 1? So what are the things that will act? P plus W by A it is. P plus W plus dW. What is dW? Weight of this one. Weight of the elemental disk by A plus dA. This everything should be equal to constant, no? Okay, no need to write. Keep it here now. Okay, let's simplify. PA, PDA, WA plus WDA should be equal to PA plus WA DWA. What all things we can cancel out? PA gets eliminated, WA gets eliminated, DA terms, if I take outside, and DA is equal to A DW. Okay, now DW by DA should be equal to PW and dW by dA. Now, what should be dW by dA? That should be equal to sigma, no? This is everything. Should be the constant. Okay, let's come for this one. How to calculate dA? How to calculate dA? So just now, I think previous problem I shown the similar approach. Shall we write 2 pi r or okay, what is that? Let's calculate pi r plus dr whole square minus pi r square. Solving this pi r square no 2 pi r dr minus pi r square. This will be negligible. So what will be left over? Will be left over with only 2 pi r dr. Okay, this is a mathematics. Okay, let me bring that 2a here. What is the increment in weight? dw. Pi r square dy will be the volume, no? dw will be pi r square dy into rho into g. Let me substitute all the values. Weight of the elemental disk that we have calculated here. dr will be very small, so pi r square into dy will become volume into density into gravity. Let me substitute all these values here. So dw is equal to dA is 2 pi r dr equal to pw by E. This everything should be equal to sigma, no? We assumed it. I think it's now only solving everything we have. Okay, all of you see this, I'll get into the mathematical part. What all we can cancel? Pi r we can cancel, so we'll be left over with the dr by r. No, this will be dr by 2 dr by r rho by sigma dy, or this is, let it be here. Check once, I'll go for integration. If I'm right, I'll continue. dr by r, pi r will get cancelled. Okay, g also there, no? G should be there, rho g. Anybody, just if you confirm it, I'll proceed. Okay, yeah, thank you. So now the limit should be dr by r rho g 2 sigma dy. Anybody limit r naught to r 0 to y. So this will be log of r by r naught equal to rho g y by 2r. Substituting this, r is equal to r naught e to power of rho g y by but we don't know sigma, no? Where sigma gone? 2 sigma, no, it is. Yeah. Sigma is what? Assume, no? Anybody? The sigma is assumed thing, no? What is sigma? Anybody will answer. I'll bring total. Tell me like what to do with sigma. Students should really focus. So what is the, at highest point, what is the sigma? Force is a, P is a pressure, P is a force here, P is a force. And tell me what is the stress at highest point? Sigma will be P by pi R naught square. That is what I'm going to replace. So final answer will be R naught E. Sigma will be pi R square. No? So rho pi R square rho G R naught square. R naught square pi R naught square rho G Y by 2P. Okay, like this, the if the radius of the rod, if it varies like this, no, you can make it independent of stress, every will be constant. Now you can ask questions, sir, what is use of this? I think construction of beams, you go to the temples, no, ancient temples, you look at the like especially the pillars, no, why not they are just vertical? Like how do we construct? I think the modern science will construct like this, no. If you go for ancient temples, no, look at the shape of the pillars, they'll be off like this. Any reason for that? Because if I make stress everywhere constant, then I need not to bother like which part should be strong. The modern pillars, it should be strong. Do we make this strong? No, everywhere the same material, no? All of you, I think construction of apartments, whenever you see, no, the pillar, what material is there, the same material is present, but stress here will be more. So it should be strong here, but we are not bothered. So don't think that engineering is wrong. In India, we don't follow the scientific rules. So at the base or pen, it should be strong here. Here, if it is weak, okay, that one. If you go for ancient temples, no, the pillars will be of this shape. Any reason for that? Because they don't want to, they just what happen, the same material, let it be. If the shape, something of like this, no, it can withstand the, everywhere stress will be same. The lifespan of the pillar will be more, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years. Old temples also we see here. The reason for that one. Okay, getting this one. So you look at any ancient structures, no, science is involved. We don't know, but they know all the things. They don't know this formula, but they know what they know practically, like as this will come, but they're not defined it in the formulas, everything, but practically they know how to utilize science. Plus when you do visit, no, just do make observation. Very lot of science will be involved. Huh? Anything, any ancient structures, not of only Hindu temples or that one, any ancient structure, church, mosque, you just do with it. There'll be some sciences involved in that construction. That much I can say. This will be, I think, a little bit difficult in exam. So much you have to do thinking, all that one. But it's a really, okay, let's come for Poisson's ratio. Then I'll come back to this question. Okay, let's take this one shearing stress one. Yeah. Now this is a sheet. I think all of you might have seen paper or say like a cardboard. Let me call this paper better. Now to punch hole, we'll be having a punching machine. Am I right? I think how many of you have seen, just you can type in Google a punching machine. If you press it, no, you'll get two holes. So why do, because for filing papers, there's a file, inside file, it will be having like this, no? So if you make a holes on in a paper at these 2 points, you can file it, no? Am I right? This one. So how do that punching machine will work? It is based on elasticity only. No, to make an hole in a sheet, tell me like what force I should apply. I think there's a question that is there. So how do we come to know what force we should apply? So what force should be applied by the punching machine so that a hole of radius r and thickness t, because see how much thickness of paper, that much of the hole will be there. So this much of material will be taken out. Am I right? This much of paper will come out, no? And this much of paper will come out here. So this was a removed from the sheet, removed from the paper. Now you see this one. This much is quantity removed from the paper. What force I should apply? Here I directly go for what is the surface area? 2 pi r into t. Then what is sigma? Sigma how you define? F by area. Sigma is the stress what you are going to apply, and A is 2 pi r delta t, I'll write it, thickness. 2 pi r into delta t. What is sigma? Sigma is the stress. Now what type of stress it is? How you should apply? You should apply force tangentially, then only paper will cut. Am I right? So where that force should act tangentially here, that one. Then only can cut. So how that punching machine, that particular rod should be there, they'll be very sharp, no? So that they can apply a stress. So and what type of stress you are applying? Shearing stress, this one. Sigma s, I'll bring it. If sigma s is the shearing stress, then this much of force you should apply it. And now, similarly, there's a thing. So punching machine is definitely what's happened. It is not just designed blindly. Some science is involved in that one. Okay, let's go for. See, I think a lot of carpentry, wood, everything. No, there the elasticity will come into picture. Okay, let's take the again one more small ear only. If I have a body, there's a width B, there's a length. I'll apply a force so that it will undergo deformation. I think already we have discussed it. Once again, I'm just bringing it. Then what will happen to the body? The body will undergo deformation. How much deformation? Theta. Oh. I will get back the screen. Wait. Okay, all of you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll proceed. Some problem will come. Okay, let's start from the beginning. This is the I think there's a structure what we assumed it. Now I'll apply a force, sharing a tangential force. Then this whole body, what will happen? Will undergo deformation. This is theta, this is theta. I think I'll give the rough diagram this much only. Yeah? No, there's a how much delta x will take it. This is h as usual. This will be L. This is B. How much of work done by me to deform the body like this? Let eta be the what's the modulus of rigidity? Shall I call this? And we define this modulus of rigidity by this formula: shearing stress by shearing strain. And this is what F parallel by shall we write LB. Shearing strain is what? Tan theta. And what is tan theta? Tan theta is delta x by h. Or sorry, it is defined like this. The strain is delta x by h, and further this will become theta LB. Delta x by h, one more step, tan theta LB, or this F parallel LB theta. Fine, okay. So there's a modulus of rigidity. How much of work I should do work, no? To displace an object like this. How to calculate the work done? Work done is nothing but elastic potential energy stored in this one. Tell me any formula for elastic potential energy. Energy density into volume. No? What is energy density? Stress square. Here, what type of stress? Shearing stress by 2 times of eta. That was Young's modulus. Here eta will come. Into what is volume? Volume will be HLB. What is the shearing stress? Should be equal to F parallel LB 1 by 2 eta. The same LB get cancelled. So finally, how much of energy elastic potential will be stored? F parallel H by 2 eta. LB gets eliminated. So this is the energy stored, total energy stored. Energy density is energy per unit volume. Energy density to volume will give total energy stored here. This much of work I should do to displace here.
So square will be there, no, sir?
Square I forgot. Then LB. So if they give eta, okay, fine. If they give F parallel, you can bring it here. No need of theta. If you want to bring in terms of theta, you can bring theta. What information available based on that, you can write expression. So this is the work done by extra agent. The same formula. So don't think that only for Young's modulus it is. Anything. For any particular deformation, you can express here. Don't think that only Young's modulus is applicable. Even for bulk modulus also, you can bring it. So energy density is not something only when Young's modulus will come into picture, only when tensile stress acts. No, any other stress acts, we can use this condition. Getting no? So these are some things which will trouble you a lot in exams. Let's go for Poisson's ratio. I'll have water, or you just meanwhile look at this. I'll have water. Okay, let's start the Poisson's ratio. POI double S, sir, not what single S. Is name of scientist. It's a very simple topic. Okay, let's begin now. So it's defined as Poisson's ratio. We'll define this as lateral strain. It's just a ratio. It will not have any dimension, not have any units. It's a ratio of lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Like this, we define it. So symbol is what? Mu. Some books they took sigma. Let me take mu because sigma is what we use for stress. No, you get confused here. Lateral strain, longitudinal strain. What do you mean by lateral? Change in radius by original radius. Delta R by R. Delta L by L. Let me put negative sign. Why negative sign? Because if you increase the length, radius will decrease. So negative of negative will become positive. The ratio should be made positive. That's why negative sign is brought here. So what is the meaning of this? Why this has come into picture? So if you look at the pipe, okay, there's a rod. There's a rod. Basically, it's a rod. Now I'll increase its length. If I increase its length, definitely what do I expect? Are you seeing this? Earlier radius was 2R1. No, 2R2. 2R. Now the length is how much? L plus delta L. The radius is, I think you'll get confused. We'll take axis. No, this is R. Now the radius, how much it has become? R plus delta. Or R minus delta. R minus delta. Are you looking the thickness of the rod got decreased? No, this is quite natural. It should happen. I think this is what we notice practically. Am I right? If you take any substance, no, we see like this. So let's define this volume. So how you define volume? V equal to pi R square L. Now when I apply force, so what type of force? A tensile stress I applied. Then this force what will elongate the body. Practically till now we discussed elastic problems where the radius will not change, but practically even the radius also will change. So then this should be equal to all these are variable, no? So therefore dv equal to pi 2r dr L pi r square dl. Let me adjust to pi r square dr by r L pi r square dl. Pi r square L, let me take common. So here I'll adjust one L. Agreed? This one. So pi r square L I can take outside. If you take pi r square L, if you take outside 2 dr by r plus dl by L. So what is this quantity? Pi r square L will become V. Now dV by V is equal to 2 dr by r dl by L. So now I'll put a condition. What is the condition? The change in volume will be 0. The reason for that, density equal to mass by volume. Practically, if I go and check it, no, most of the substance what we have, 1 kg substance is there. It will remain 1 kg only when you apply force, that one. So mass will not change. The density also will not change. So what will happen to volume? Volume will not change. If it changes, no, then we can bring many important materials, like suppose say element which is near to gold. I will deform it. Mass constant. If volume changes, density changes. Then what when the configuration of element will change. So any element which is just above and below the atom mass number, above and below the gold, I can deform it, no? Then that metal become gold, but such a thing is not happening. So therefore, practically what happens, when you deform a body, mass will remain constant, density constant. So therefore, volume will remain constant. So therefore, dV equal to 0. If dV is equal to 0, then 2 dr by r plus dl. So let's get into the, so what is the formula? dr by r by dl by l. This should be equal to how much? Minus 1 by 2. This negative sign, let me keep here. Then dr by r by dl by l, what we can write this quantity as? Poisson's ratio, mu. So therefore, what should be mu equal to 1 by 2. This is the maximum possible value. It cannot be greater than this particular thing. And it can be 0. So therefore, the Poisson's ratio, what is the range? We can put practically, this is a value. So why that upper limit 1 by 2 will come? It's, you can look at the mathematics here practically. So we never get any material whose Poisson's ratio will be greater than 0.5. It should lie between 0 and 0.5. Or it can be 0 also, some materials. That is what we use for applications. Able to get this means, can it be like this? If I decrease length, radius will increase. Yes, it can happen also. So let's explore now. So just we'll take the some set of diagrams. So this is initially, okay, this can happen. No, can it be like this also? Look at this second diagram. Anything can you say about here? The radius increase, the length will decrease here. So there's a original body. I applied a force. Here the force is applied like this. Compressive, no? Compressive stress, tensile stress, compressive stress, you can call it. This one. So here in this length increased. Radius decreased here. Here what happened? Length decreased. And radius increased. But overall volume of the body will remain same. So shall I put volume as V naught? Fine. It can be either way. Now, what is the use of this? I think really very, very important. The study of this is very important. So first we'll do one thing for most of the metals. Most of the metals, the Poisson's ratio will be less than 0.5 and greater than 0. For rubber, it will be Poisson's ratio will be 0.4955. What do you mean by that? Volume almost remains constant. Okay, there's another thing. So for a cork, Poisson's ratio will be equal to 0. What do you mean by mu 0? I think I should, shall I put like this? Mu 0. How to interpret this mu as mu 0? For a cork, no, this is something very important here. I'm coming to the cork idea. Mu 0 means, what does it mean? if you produce change in length, there won't be change in radius. Mu zero means, are you getting? If mu zero means, if you change the length, there won't be change in radius. That is what I'm going to use for a cork. So usually, where do we use cork? Anybody? See now, okay, now bottles, if you take the most of the bottles, no, we stopped using cork. But if you see still the corks, most of the like oils, everything, no, we close by using bottles should be closed here. So I think after 17th century, or almost you can say after 16th century, the glass manufacturing came into picture. Okay, we are able to manufacture the glass, and you used to store the liquids, especially in the glass. Then what is the biggest problem? Now technology got improved. If you just go back to the, better say 200 years back, why 400 years, 200 years back, we are able to manufacture glass, but the closing lid for glass was a problem. See, now we got a technology. Now don't say, sir, you take cool drinks, Thumbs Up, Coca-Cola or Maaza, that one, we have that particular lid, with that we open. Okay, now technology, huh? But you go back 200 years, we didn't have a technology. The closing, there's a glass bottle. The lid, putting lid, closing it was a big problem. Then, sir, why can't, now you see most of the things, we have a screw system, no? If you want to open a lid, or especially you take syrup bottles, am I right? How do you open? Screw will be there, no? You look at the cold drinks bottle, instead of screw, what will happen? A lid is there. Why? Anybody? See, cold drinks bottle, what happen if I bring a screw system, the lid, I'll open the screw, I'll drink off of the Coca-Cola, remaining off, I'll fill up with water, and I'll close the screw, finish. Or two, avoid that, what happened, they have come with a lid where if you open it once, you cannot again finish, or you have to throw it for different. And syrups, what will happen, I'll not drink at a time, no, like Coca-Cola, how how cold drinks, I'll drink one bottle. Will I drink syrup one bottle? No, I'll be reusing it. So therefore a screw system is brought here. But you go back 200 years back, we didn't have a screw system for the bottles. Then how to close them? So where it is, especially if take Western countries, the medicines, the oil, the chemicals, because I think some 200 years back, they started producing chemicals. They have to preserve all those things, and alcohol, the champagne bottles. They needed a lid, what happened, which can be easily fitted. So now what type of lid I should take it? For that purpose, the cork is brought here. So usually what will happen to the cork, what will happen, there's a bottle. So cork will come like this. I had to press into it, no? I had to press into it. So now what is the basic idea? If mu zero, there won't be change in radius. So what I do is like, I will just put cork here. I'll bring the cork here. Now that definitely, I'll come with the red color. It's a very, you can say, beautiful science is involved here. I just wanted to explain. Let's see that. This was the cork shape will be like this. Huh? Now what I do is I want to bring the cork. I'll place it. I'm going to hammer it with hammer something. I'll strike it. Then if ordinary material is there, what is the problem with the ordinary material? If you hammer it, if you apply a force here, so what is the problem will arise? If you apply force here, so what will happen to it? It will become like this, no? Am I right? Length will decrease, radius will increase. But here, what should happen? Radius should not decrease here, no? If radius decreases, can it go inside? If you take ordinary material, if there's a cork, okay, fine. Any other than cork, okay, you can put rubber, no problem. Okay, look at this one. If you bring the rubber here, place it. If you try to push into the what happen, you're trying to decrease the length. because now you can say like from where this force has come. This is what external force applied. This force will come from the side walls of the bottle. So compressive stress, length decreases, radius will increase. Once radius increases, how do this rubber? This rubber cannot go. I'll bring another diagram. If this is the instead of no. This is a rubber, no? So what is the problem? When you just press it with a force, F here, the rubber what happen will expand and it cannot get into this one. I'll give one more diagram. So that will be. This is a glass bottle, no? So what will happen to the rubber? Rubber will take shape like this. How you push this rubber into this one? Not possible, no? Rubber lid, not possible. So I can't close this glass bottle using rubber. That's why they searched the material. They got cork. That one. So what is a cork? Mu will be, so what is the mu? Mu will be 0, Poisson's ratio. If mu is 0, then though length decreases, radius will not increase. So what I do, I'll apply a force. Because of applied force will happen, the radius will not increase. And slightly, I'll make radius slightly, so like because it should be tight, no, slightly greater. Slightly, like suppose the 1 centimeter is there, radius of this cork will be 1.1 centimeter. I'll press it hard, then what happen, it'll go there and will get fit into the bottle. Once it is there inside this bottle, so now what happen, it not be, what all liquid is there will not come out because it will tightly fit, go there. Now to open it, I think I gave one problem, no? To open it, it's not that possible, no? You have to, the friction of that will come into picture, you have to, yeah, this was the problem. So this is actually the, how to place the lid is what I brought it. So this is a method. So what we do is like, so shall I bring like this? There's a method, there's one method. So what we do is slightly the radius of the cork will be greater than that of bottle. I'll apply some force. If I apply force, the radius will decrease. Then I'll push into this. The moment it get into this one, then I'll start pressing it. So once it gets somewhere here, so I'll start pushing it down. Then it will get easily into the bottle. Okay, fine. So this is the method what we use this one. So why the cork is used to close the glass bottle? There's a main reason. The numerical itself, I brought it. Huh? Okay, let me show this. This will be, the cork is well fitted inside this. So now even you tilt the bottle, what happens, the liquid will not have sufficient force to pull it out. So what you should do, you should have a method to pull that one. Like that, we have an instrument which will pull this cork. Again, what happened, the material of the cork should not fall into the liquid. No, so here some medicine will be there, some syrup. So the cork open should completely come out. Like that, we have a machines which will pull out that cork. So why we can't use rubber? There's a problem. Huh? The rubber will buckle. You can say this one. It will be like this. Huh? Cannot get it. So cork is possible. I'll decrease the radius slightly. Means I'll press it. I'll introduce into it. Then I'll leave it. It'll come back to the shape. The radius of this cork will be slightly greater than that of the bottle. Now it will be held tight. The side walls will exert a force. So then if you want to pull it, no, so there'll be friction. So you should really pull very hard. So like that, what happen? I can preserve the liquids in the glass bottle. There's a thing. Okay, all of you got the idea, no? So what do you mean by mu zero? If you change, if mu zero, how you have to understand? If L changes, R will not change. If R changes, L will not change. There's a meaning. So for a cork, what does it mean? If L changes, R will not change. If R changes, L will not change. And now even Poisson's ratio can be negative also. Poisson's ratio can be negative also. So the exotic materials will take it. What are these materials? They have mu will be negative. What do you mean by mu negative? If there's a material, if you apply a force, both L will decrease, R will decrease. Able to understand? If mu negative, that one. So next again, if you stretch it, L increases, R increases. So what about mu negative? Mu negative, as L decreases, R decreases, L increases, R increases. What is L? L is this one. This is 2R. Where do we use paper? Good example of oxidic materials. Examples are paper or synthetic rubber used in shoes. Now let's come for the shoes. What is a basic necessity of the shoes? So if you look at the this part is very important, no? Here. No, come for this one. Cannot be so much of the, yeah. It'll be like this, no? So this part is something very, very important in the shoes. This part, or better say, this region. No, as you fold your ankle, so if it is on ground, when it is on ground here, no problem, no? There won't be problem. But when you fold your ankle, as you start walking, I think your ankle will get twisted here. So how the shape of that, it will come like this, no? Tell me what should happen? The length will increase. If you see overall length, this L1, overall this length, you should measure like this. L2 will be greater than L1. Am I right? Then at this particular point, you see this region. What happened? Here what happened? The radius will try to decrease if you use ordinary rubber. Am I right? According to Poisson's ratio, if length increases, radius should decrease. Here radius decreases. Already this will be tight, no? So here what should happen? Here this is R1 will take it. Then these are two. Okay, now tell me, like, according to what we know, if length increases, radius will decrease. If radius decreases, you'll get a pain when you're walking. Am I right? So therefore, what should happen? The material of the shoe, the rubber should be modified, should be made synthetic rubber should be such that if length increases, R should increase, then only it be comfortable in walking. Otherwise, the moment you lift your ankle, you'll get a pain in this region because this particular material will compress your muscles here. You get a lot of pain in this region. So therefore, what should be? This R2 should increase. So tell me, what is the requirement here? If length increases, the radius should increase here. That this R2 should increase. Then again, once the foot becomes flat, then again open the material open. If it is like this only, then open you will not be comfortable. Huh? Then your legs will be very loose inside that one. Again, the material open should come back to its original shape. Once when you twist it, length automatically should increase. That's natural. Even radius should increase. If you take ordinary rubber, R2 will decrease. If it is made up of exotic material, synthetic rubber, I think better I'll synthetic leather, I'll put it. Again, rubber means you get confused. No. Now, what should be the requirement here? L2 increases, R2 increases. L decreases, R decreases. So therefore, what should be the Poisson's ratio of this material of the shoe should be negative. Huh? See, a lot of science is involved. Huh? That's why when you purchase shoes or something, what is advised? You should walk, no? They'll advise you to walk. When you walk, when you lift your ankle like this, they'll ask you, is it comfortable? Then you feel comfortable, then you should buy. Buying shoes is not that easier. Nowadays we look for design, but you should look for comfort. So you should test with walking, and you should press hard your ankle. You should lift it more, especially if you're using for sports, no? That daily wear, no? It should have more comfort, that one. Get this one? So next time don't blindly purchase. Huh? Use science involved in that one. So what should be this? L as L1, L2 greater than L1, so R2 greater than R1. So what should be the material? The mu of material should be negative. Then only this possible. Ordinary rubber, if you use, what is the problem? L2 increases, L2 as length increases. What's happened? R will decrease. Lot of pain will come. Fine. So these are the ideas of the Poisson's ratio. We have reached. But if you look at the book, no, mu negative not possible. They're telling, because I think the what is the, do you know the content? It's 150 years old. We didn't update. Abroad updated, in India within 1950s, what 1930s, what Britishers have left. No, only that content still it is there as it is. A good example, mu negative not possible. They're saying in book, but look at the shoes. Every day what we chappals, what we use, no, they're based on this application only. Okay, next after this, we have one more, vulcanized rubber. These of, again, rubber, types of rubber. I look at the car tires, they have some specific conditions, no? Any how the car tires, they're made up of rubber, no? So any conditions shall we put for car tires? Or nothing? Any rubber you can use, and shock absorbers. So for different applications, we go for with a different type of rubber here. I'll plot the stress versus strain graph. It can be any shape. So some arbitrary shape is what we have picked up. Yeah. strain. So there's a rubber one. There's a rubber one. There's a rubber two. Now, which rubber should be used here? So what is this? If you say there's a loading, there's an unloading. Again, this curve is loading. This is unloading. What do you mean by loading, unloading? You are going to apply a stress. Then again, when you remove the stress, the body, what will happen? Will retrace. We'll come back to its original state, that one. So what is the elasticity? When you apply deforming force, the body will undergo deformation. When you remove deforming force, body will retain its original shape. Is it okay? This one, you look at the strain is 0. Fine, okay, good. But what happened? The rubber, what happened? Well, it will not retrace path. Means you deform a body, it will undergo deformation. Then when you remove stress here, when you decrease stress, so what do you expect? The body should come back like this, but it will retrace path here. Then area under the curve, you look at this area and area under this curve. Which area will be more? I think you need a small graphical idea. This is one area. This much will be the area under the curve. Simple, just it's some small mass is what you should understand here. So we'll agree this. This is during loading. Now during unloading, the curve is like this. Now which area will be more? This is during loading. We'll put double arrow. This is like this. Now this will be area A1, A2. Which area will be more? I think definitely A1 greater than A2. This is stress, this is strain. Here what happened? The body action agent does work. It will deform the body, and what all work done action agent will be available as energy stored in this one. Area under stress versus strain graph should be, shall I say, equal to energy. Any reason for that? Because what is the energy is equal to? Half into stress into strain. So area under stress versus strain graph should give energy stored in the body. That's the basic idea now. Now with this, you come to the picture now. Action agent will do work. Then what all energy it will work done by X-ray agent should be equal to U1. Then I'll decrease the stress. I'll remove the stress. Then what happened? The body should retain the original shape. So it has returned back to its original shape. Okay, no strain is there. Then what happened? The energy which was there, all that energy which was there, what will happen to it? Will be converted as it will be absorbed by the body itself. The difference of energy, that one means here I'll slowly decrease the stress. If it retraces path, it will return back all its energy. But what happens? It's not retracing path. Some of the energy will be absorbed by the material itself, and that will be available as heat. A1 minus A2. So here what will happen? Energy will be U2. Will not be available. Will be given out, but it will not give out totally. A part of energy will be reflected. So according to the graph, what you can say, U2 less than U1. Where do that remaining energy gone? Will be absorbed by the material. During unloading, the material what happens should return back the energy. The body should return back the energy, but it will not return what it is. But suppose say here 10 joules is there. Then it should return back all 10 joules, no? Finally, when deformation is 0. But what happened? It has returned only 8 joules. Where do that 2 joules gone? Convert into heat. So this what happens, the rubber what will happen will never retrace path. Suppose if a material, I will deform it, again if it retraces path, then no loss in energy. What energy you spend to deform body, the energy will return back that energy. So the body will return back the total energy. Then no loss in energy. And what happened, that difference energy will be converted as heat in the body here. So what shall I put here? External agent. So heat generated. Heat generated in the body is equal to there's a stress versus strain graph. So area, difference in area, A1 minus A2 or U1 minus U2. Fine. Okay, now this particular rubber is there. You look at the car tires made up of rubber, no? So when the car tire, when a layer of car tire, which is the bottom, okay, look at this. There's a tire, no? This one. So there's a tire. So when it is here, how much of energy it will have? It is having maximum deformation, no? Will deform the rim and ground at one. So maximum it got deformed. When the same layer after some time it arrives here. Tell me what happened to deformation will decrease. The same layer when it arrives here, I think the layer A will write it. The same layer which arrives here. What is the deformation? No deformation. Maximum deformation. Agree with this? So the layer of tire which is in contact will have maximum deformation. Once the car rolls for moves further, then what will happen to the deformation? It decreases. No, here no deformation. Again the same layer when it comes in contact will undergo like this. It will undergo deformation, reformation, deformation, reformation. No, so here what happened? The layer is here. First, actually, I think I'm able to explain the sequence. So the layer is here. No deformation. Look at this one now. Now the layer starts undergoing deformation. Energy stored in it increases. By the time when it reaches at the lowest point, maximum deformation. Energy is stored in that one, let it be U1. Again, as the car rolls further, so what happened? It will start undergoing reform. So it has now totally reformed. No deformation. Tell me like here, how much of energy? 100 joules. 0 joules, 100 joules. When it comes here, what will happen? It will not give out all that 100 joules. 80 joules, it will return back. But the remaining 20 joules won't go convert into heat in the tires. Or tell me like for a tires, if this area under the curve is more, what will happen to the heat? More heat will be generated, no? More heat will be generated. Then if heat generated more, the tire may burst, no? So therefore, tell me like what type of rubber I should choose to make the car tires? Area less, no? Agreed, all of you? The simple understanding, nothing is there. This area should be less. I'm bothered about this area. I think I'll give some color for it. Yeah. This area should be as minimum as possible. It's the best rubber. So when you're purchasing car tires, what we have to do? We have to take care that this area should be minimum. So how do I come to know? I think that is what you should verify things. Huh? You should not look at the design much. Design as the roughness, the grip and this particular area matters here. So that's why if you're purchasing car tires, so you'll ask for a trial. Then when you go for 5 kilometers, then stop it, then you're going to touch the tires. If they're very hot, then it's a poor rubber. If it is not at all hot, the tires, then it's a good quality rubber. This is what happened. We prefer this for car tires. Then we'll be having some machines, no? The machines will be moving. Then I should bring it to rest. Again, I should move it. So again, some rubbers is what shall I use them to stop? Where do can you suggest here during breakings? Am I right? For breaking sort pen, we use rubber. No, the best thing is rubber. No, using rubber you can stop it. No, moving parts. Tell me like what type of rubber it should be there. Okay, you deform it. Yeah, the rubber will be deformed. Then again, so what will happen to that rubber? Rubber, what will happen? Should absorb all the kinetic energy of the moving parts. No, so the kinetic energy of the moving part will be converted into increase in deformation energy of rubber. Again, the moving part will move away. Then the rubber, what will happen? Will undergo come out of deformation and it will retain original shape. So what happened that rubber now, it should take out all the kinetic energy of the moving parts. So therefore the rubber which is used in machines for pen should capable of handling more heat. So therefore the area should be more here. So this particular rubber what pen used in machines. Used in machines. So why in machines? Because the machines usually what happen? They are made up of metals, no? The two moving metal parts should not come in contact very often. Definitely the equipment, lot of sound will come. To minimize that sound weapon, I'll give a rubber coating for that. So when the two moving parts, when the two rods come in contact, no, due to rubber weapon, the deformation will be less, or can select it, the moving parts will not get damaged much. So therefore, a rubber which is used in machines weapon, its area under stress versus strain graph means what is one cycle? This is, so what is the one cycle? You are starting with zero deformation, then it will undergo deformation, then again you are going to unload it, it will return back. This will become one cycle. In one cycle, so the area under the curve, if it is more, that particular rubber should be used for machines. If the area under less, that should be used for car tires. One cycle. What do you mean by one cycle here? You're going to start from here. O, A, B, C, D. This will become one cycle. Able to understand? So these are the some types of theoretical ideas are there. So the stress versus strain graph, area under the curve, what it will give? The energy. The difference between the loading unloading curve will be the heat generated. I'm writing here this one. And these are all theoretical ideas. So what is one cycle? This is one cycle. Here it will start. Now deformation. Then reformation. This will become one cycle. Fine. So all these things definitely they've asked in NCERT book, or you check the any other materials. No, such things are available. So you can study material also you can refer it. All this content is what they were asked it. So if you want, you can read it. Cork one, this is the idea. Exotic materials. Books they didn't discuss, but I think they can ask questions. You be careful. Mu negative also possible nowadays. Okay, we'll wind up the class. Yeah. Okay, thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, all of you. Take care. Bye. See you.
Thank you, sir.